So I recently took a trip to Medellin, Colombia. I went there with the intentions of recording my experiences so that I could start this YouTube channel that you're watching right now. I wanted to capture the food, the people, the nightlife, and the tourist spots. And since my face can only get me so far, I ideally wanted to do all of that with a hot Colombian girl by my side. So I went out there with a full roster. I had my starting five, solid bench players, and I also have the G League that I could upgrade to the roster in case of unforeseen circumstances. This was one of those unforeseen circumstances. So I only had a couple more days left in Medellin, and I still hadn't been to Comuna 13. But Comuna 13 is probably the biggest tourist attraction in Medellin, so I decided that no matter what, I'm going to Comuna 13 today. Now I just needed to decide who I was going with. I woke up bright and early at 8 a.m. to start planning my day. Comuna 13 is a daytime activity, and I already have plans for after 5:30, so I need to figure out who's available ASAP. Most of the girls that I had lined up, they work during the day and then they're free at night, so that's where the G Leaguers came into play. I pretty much just scrolled through my Instagram DMs to see who was available, and that's where I found Miri. So this is a girl that I met off Tinder, and we had like one conversation about a week prior to this. So I didn't really know what she was about, but I knew if I invited her out, she'd probably pull up. So I asked if she wanted to go to Community 13 with me and see her city through the eyes of a gringo. She acted hesitant for a second, which is understandable considering we're strangers. So I told her, let's just get breakfast, and in the unlikely situation that you're not feeling me, we can just go our separate ways. But if everything's good at breakfast, then let's go to Community 13. She agreed to that, and we met at the mall a couple hours later around 11. So at first it was all good. We're eating breakfast, she's showing me how I'm supposed to eat my arepa. I noticed she didn't look as good in person as on IG, but that's the case with most people these days, so I thought, it's no big deal, maybe she'll be cool to chill with. So like 5 minutes into our meal, I see her like leaning to the side with her phone trying to like sneak a picture of me. So I throw up the deuces to let her know that I see her taking a picture. And then she goes like, oh, I'm just sending a picture to my friend. I'm telling her I'm out with an American guy. And then I'm like, okay, that's a little weird, but I am recording everything right now on video, so I'll just let that one slide. But then like, not even a minute later, she asked me, so like, aren't you a little bit scared to be traveling by yourself out here in Medellin? I tried to downplay it by saying, I've traveled a lot to many different countries and most of my travels are by myself, so I'm pretty accustomed to just traveling alone. And she goes, no, but Medellin is different. So when I tell her that I've been here many other times and I've never had any problems, she goes, oh, so you got it all figured out, huh? And I'm like, okay, well, I know not to walk around with valuables and not to make myself a target and to be especially careful with the girls. And whenever I said with the girls, I like looked at her all suspicious and she kind of like laughed it off and changed the subject. This set off a bunch of red flags for me. Why did she press so hard to tell me about how dangerous Medellin is for me? Is it because she's genuinely concerned about my safety, or is it because she's trying to find out how naive I am? And was she showing her friend my picture for innocent reasons, or was she trying to take a picture of her next victim? If I was anywhere else, I probably wouldn't even have thought twice about these things, but this is Medellin, Colombia, and spending time with the wrong women can be fatal out here. So I started to think, should I just leave because I'm not comfortable, or should I thug it out and see what happens? If I'm going to get got in Medellin, I at least want my friends back home to know my last moments were spent with a baddie. I'll be rolling in my grave if my homies found out I flew all the way to Colombia and died chasing after a 6 out of 10. But of course, I thugged it out. My thoughts were, if she has any intentions to harm me, she's going to have to get me in private to do that. So if we just go to Comuna 13, I should be good. So we finished eating, and I got us an Uber to Comuna 13. The Uber had us vibing, by the way. This is just on the regular radio out here. Yeah, we're going to Comuna 13 with Miri. By the time we arrived at Community 13, I had my whole plan laid out. Act normal, like everything's okay, and then come up with an excuse to leave as soon as we're done here. Look good?
Bien, bien. Alright, into the streets. ¿Tú sabes algo historia de aquí en Comuna 13?
Sí, un poco.
¿Tú puedes compartir qué es Comuna 13?
La Comuna 13 ahora es un lugar muy turístico, pero antes, como en los 2000 más o menos, hubo mucha guerra. Aquí murió mucha gente.
¿Cuál es? ¿Cuál es?
A la orden, bienvenidos.
¿Qué nombre tiene?
Hola.
Tenemos a 6.000 lado.
¿Cómo se llama?
Ese se llama ciruela.
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 La ciruela criolla.
I never heard of that. ¿Y qué es esto?
Pitaya.
¿Esto qué es?
Ese se llama pitaya, ¿verdad?
It's like a dragon fruit.
Pitaya.
They got a lot of fruits here that I've never seen. No tenemos estas frutas en mis vidas.
¿Mm?
No. I mean, mango, sí. Otros.
So we're walking around the neighborhood, I'm getting the content I wanted, and she's even holding the camera for me at times. And I started to think to myself, maybe I was just being paranoid and she's actually cool. It's not like she's done anything egregious that confirmed my suspicions. She's only guilty of asking me some questions that made me uncomfortable. Right as I'm thinking maybe I should relax, she proceeds to ask me how much my camera costs and if she can invite her friend to hang out with us later.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Both of which are red flags to me because why would you invite someone else when we're just getting to know each other? And what difference does it make to you how much my camera costs? She suggested like 3 different places we could go, but I kept giving her responses like, we'll see. I have to stop at my apartment after this, but maybe later. I was trying to set the stage for me to slide out, but it seemed like she wasn't taking the hint. So we're all done looking at Comuna 13, and it's time to go. This is what I said to her to get my ass out of there.
¿Qué?
¿Para dónde vas ahora entonces?
Yo creo que yo necesito ir a mi habitación porque tengo mucho sudor y necesito sacar mis cosas y quizás es que yo necesito hacer ahora. ¿Está bien?
Ujú.
So yo puedo comprar un Uber que nosotros ven a tu casa y después mi casa.
Okay.
Not the smoothest exit. I had all that time to come up with an excuse, and that's the best I came up with. And I could tell her demeanor changed right after that. She got quiet and started walking in front of me instead of beside me. And I'm thinking, is she mad because I cut our date short? Or was she planning to have her friend come slip something in my drink and now she's mad that she lost out on an opportunity? The world may never know.
Just had to plan my escape. Gotta get out of here because I gotta meet Shorty for dinner later on. It ain't easy being sleazy. Alice aquí, ya.
¿Qué dije?
EKT.
All I do know is that we had an awkwardly quiet Uber ride to take her back to the hood where she lived. So, what is the moral of the story? I know you probably clicked on the video hoping to hear about how I woke up in the street butt naked with a headache and my bank account cleaned out. And that could have very well been the case. But if you don't learn anything from this video, understand this. If you travel to Colombia or Medellin specifically, you need to be hyper aware of your situation. The reason I've been able to travel to Medellin so many times and not end up on a newspaper is because I'm aware of the dangers and don't ignore them. Every story I've heard of people getting robbed by the girls in Colombia, there were red flags that they ignored. And the only reason I can think of that a man would ignore these signs is out of ignorance or a lack of female options. People are really out here dying of thirst. So I made a whole 40-minute tutorial on my Patreon breaking down how I build my roster and red flags to be aware of out here in Colombia. Having a solid rotation can save lives. And I want to hear some other opinions, so leave a comment and let me know if you think I was justified for how I acted in this situation, or if it was just me being paranoid. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I have more shenanigans from Medellin coming soon.